What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down something with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. Just know that I am not a financial planner. So, one thing that's good about Tesla is the fact that we're holding 272 and we're doing a decent job so far at that. And that's despite some more bad news that's coming out about their sales. I want to see if Tesla could reclaim 277 to see some kind of bounce back to the 280s. If we don't, we're just range bound for now. And as long as we don't lose 272, we're still stuck in this range. So, what's going on? There was some bad news that came out about how Tesla sales are just plunging throughout Europe and many major European markets. So their Spanish sales are down 36%, the German sales are down 46%, and then on top of this, Belgium and France are looking for over 50% declines in Tesla's sales on a year-over-year basis for the month of April. And then in the UK now, there's lots of headlines coming out that in the UK, Tesla sales are down 62%. Not the best of news. We know that there's a very, very big political landscape in Europe, and that is really affecting, the current sentiment about Tesla, about Elon Musk, and etc. That's part of why we're seeing this downside. Tesla was also lapped by many Chinese rivals in the UK. This includes many of them, and it's not the best of news, especially as we're starting to see them getting a lot more, hate, especially from not only protesters, as we're seeing vandalism continuing, but they only sold about 512 cars in Britain. That's actually less than what we saw from some Chinese companies that are lesser known. So that's not even the best of news. So honestly, guys, I know this is bad news. I know this is not what you guys want to hear, but I'm just here to tell you guys the truth about what mainstream media is saying. But the thing about Tesla is that this news is not really a big surprise to Wall Street. I did see this, cause Tesla to dip a bit, but it's not a massive crash or anything like that. We're still technically in this range. Now, later on, going into next month, we do have the Robotaxi event, and Tesla could try to make a comeback with that. I do hope that that is the catalyst to help Tesla out with all this bad news that keeps on coming out. So please keep that in mind. For other pieces of news, we are seeing a big shift in some data right over here as we're seeing a decrease in container bookings from China, at least from, or at least to the US. And then we're also seeing the trade deficit at this high at about a negative $140 billion. We did see a big increase in US imports, but there was a decrease in exports to some extent. The deficit remains at record highs because we're still seeing companies kind of scrambling in a lot of different ways as there's very, very high demand for goods. That has remained as people start to buy things up in fears of the tariffs, but simultaneously, we are starting to see a big shift in supply chains because of that. And then there's also the factor in that we're seeing less exports, so that's now affecting, potential prices and things like that. There are some fears about that. So I think that's part of why the market dipped a bit, but now we're seeing buyers defending despite all of this. So the exports and imports data alongside this news that came out for Tesla's parts of why it dipped, alongside the gap down after Palantir's earnings. But the thing about this is that there are buyers who are trying to defend Tesla. So I want to see if Tesla could get back above 277. If we reclaim this, we could be looking for 280 again. As long as we don't lose 272, we're going to be fine. And this is a good, sign of resilience by Tesla. Although we're range bound, despite the bad headlines coming out about the European sales, Tesla is still holding up decently. We're only down 1.8%, which is not too bad. I want to see if we could get back above 277 though to try to bounce. So please keep that in mind. Now, SPY dumped to about the 556s, but now we're getting bought back up. We do have a gap to fill back on the 4 hour. You guys could see it at 562. So as long as we're above 560, we're favoring this gap fill now. So we did dump a bit only to get bought back up. So I could see an attempt to fill this gap on the daily back up towards that 562 area. On the excuse me, on the QQQ, as long as we're not below this 480 area, as long as we could hold this, there's also a gap to fill at 484. I could be looking for that as a target. On the IWM, we could be targeting 198 if we do try to bounce, as long as we don't lose 197. On ES, as long as we're not below the 5600 area, we have to see if we could reclaim 5644. If we do, there could be a temporary bounce where this daily gap is around 5670, but it's just very temporary. On NQ, it's the same thing. We want to get back above 19,915. If that breaks, I'm looking for the low 20,000s. Bitcoin, it's still consolidating, very, very choppy, not really doing a whole lot. Nvidia dumped all the way down to 110 only to get bought back up. So we're looking for an attempt to fill that gap at 113.5. Apple dipped all the way down towards this 197 area. I did warning you guys about 195 potentially, and I said to watch and see how it reacts. We came just short of my targets. Now we're looking for an attempt for 200. I think the whole market is trying to rebound just a bit. Even Coinbase dumped all the way down to our target of 190. I was talking about 192. We actually came down to 193, so very close. But if we could reclaim 196, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 200. So we'll see if that happens. Amazon kind of has head and shoulders, but it's trying to get bought back up towards 187. 187 and 190 are potential targets on this. Meta needs to hold above 600. If not, we could be dipping to about 579. But I do think that Meta, by the way, is going to try to consolidate over here. It's still a little bit weak. It could be retesting the low of yesterday, around 590 to 587. Then we'll see if it bounces. Microsoft is going to be looking for an attempt for essentially 442. It's still very resilient. And Google dipped all the way down to about 163 only to get bought back up. So we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 168 now. So the VIX, what's interesting is that although the VIX tried to break out, we didn't really get all the way back up to these EMAs before rejecting. We came short. There's a gap to fill around the 23s, so it might be coming back down, and this could help the market push. The market bouncing is helping Tesla to some extent. I do want to see Tesla get back above 277 to see some kind of rebound. So, that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day, and I'll be back in a couple of hours for another upload. Until then, thank you for listening and peace out.